6 Implications Concerning Freedom by Longchenpa. One implication to be discerned is that there is a supremely spacious state of timeless equalness within basic space. Given naturally occurring awareness, the timeless equalness of everything, arising and non-arising, are timelessly non-existent in basic space, abiding and non-abiding are timelessly non-existent in basic space, and freedom and the absence of freedom are timelessly non-existent in basic space. Awareness, its dynamic energy, and the display of sensory appearances and ordinary mind are all such that they have never known existence or non-existence, have never known manifestation or emptiness, and have never known samsara or nirvana, but rather are already pure like space, without any underlying basis. The implication concerning everything that manifests or that stirs in the mind that it has never known existence can be discerned within the state in which phenomena resolve. By completely letting go within the expanse that entails no conceptualization whatsoever, you embrace the larger scope of there being no origination. The great Garuda states, "Abandon the desire for bliss, for it harms the mind. Rely on the state of resting naturally, and you are free of needing to do anything about samsara or nirvana. As for the miraculous expressions of mind and sensory appearances, this is self, this is other, the hindrances of mental stirring, perceiving, thinking, and fixating are dispelled. And so there is imperturbable rest that defies all attempts at verbal expression. The implication that whatever manifests is the miraculous expression of ordinary conceptual mind can be discerned in the interval between the state free of phenomena and the mind's conceptual process. Within awareness, a supreme state of unwavering equalness, even as things arise, they arise naturally, holding to their own place. Even as they abide naturally, holding to their own place. Even as they are freed naturally, holding to their own place. Another implication to be discerned is that things are naturally freed and vanish naturally, like a knot in a snake. The three phases of things arising, abiding, and being freed do not take place anywhere other than within the immediacy of awareness. So the expression, their own place, refers to bare awareness abiding as naked original purity within the natural basic space of Dharmakaya. The expression, holding to their own place, refers to recognition of this. even as things arise naturally. The implication discerned is that they are freed within naked awareness, the place from which they arise, even as they abide naturally. The implication discerned is that naked awareness is the place in which they abide. And as for their natural freedom, even as they vanish, the implication discerned is that naked awareness is the place in which they go. The great Garuda states, without cause, naturally free, and not relying on conditions, the unbiased, naturally pure view does not exist as some thing. The three hindrances that involve the limitations of ingrained opinions are dispelled. The implication that sensory appearances and consciousness constitute a supreme, naturally occurring state of innate immediacy can be discerned within the interval between cause and effect, which arises naturally and is free of elaboration. Another implication to be discerned is that things are timelessly free, in that they are free of any basis. Even though there is the appearance of water in a mirage, it is already free in not being water, for it has never existed as water. Similarly, all phenomena, having no independent nature, are timelessly empty and without identity, and so are timelessly free of having substance or characteristics. In this way, whatever sensory appearances manifest outwardly and whatever states of consciousness arise inwardly, all of them are initially devoid of anything that could bring them into being. And so they have definitely never known existence, even as they seem to come into being or arise. What seems at present to abide in light of consciousness is devoid of any essence as something that could abide, and so is free of any constraint, being clearly apparent without truly existing. Finally, what seems to cease is devoid of any essence as something that could cease. Because things are unborn, they do not abide, and the fact that they have never existed as anything that could cease makes thinking about them in such terms similar to thinking that the water in a mirage has vanished or ceased to be. You should understand that since things are already free and that they have never known existence, there is no need for anything that arises in light of ordinary consciousness to be freed by applying antidotes. The Pearl Garland states, "Freedom is not due to effort. Rather, one abides timelessly in freedom." The actual way to discern the implication of this key point and put it into practice is as follows. Even as sense objects manifest in light of consciousness, you understand that they have no basis, and so release them into openness without contriving or tampering with them in any way. Even as sensory appearances arise directly in and are directly encountered by your consciousness, they have no basis, and so are released into a state of bare experience, which is the direct encounter with awareness. your consciousness of sensory appearances is continuous, yet it does not reify or analyze them. Rather, you maintain what is simply an undistracted identification of naked awareness itself, pristine in its openness. Even as you are conscious of sensory appearances, you identify bare awareness arising in the interval of resting imperturbably. I have focused on this point and explained it extensively because it is so crucial. Another implication to be discerned is that freedom in immediate perception is a supreme state in which ordinary perception vanishes. That is to say, since awareness is uninterrupted, its dynamic energy is continuous. Even as you seem to be conscious of sense objects, thoughts do not go beyond any of their three phases: arising, abiding, or being freed, which is to say, vanishing. Given that they can be likened to the flow of water, there is no opportunity for cause and effect to be reinforced in any single moment. Thoughts arise and vanish simultaneously, and so are like patterns drawn on water. Ordinary consciousness perceives these two phases, as well as that of abiding, to be aspects of awareness. When even occasionally you experience thoughts simultaneously arising and being freed, you realize that it is impossible for any causal process to exist. With your naked realization of this, the cause of samsara is exhausted, since its result, remaining within the 3 realms and the 6 states of samsara, is impossible. Your mind is at ease. This key point leaves no room for any obscuration or potential for error. Due to the purity that lies in the simultaneous arising and freeing of thoughts, error and obscuration are cut through in the context of their true nature. This is what is meant by crossing over the abyss of hope and fear. The way to discern the implication of this key point and put it into practice is as follows. It makes no difference what arises where, whether ordinary consciousness manifesting in response to sense objects, or sense objects manifesting to ordinary consciousness. For the moment you rest in the immediate perception of the context in which thoughts arise, it is impossible for there not to be a pristine state in which they vanish naturally, leaving no trace. At that point, by resting in the wake of their vanishing, you identify the presence of a bare state of lucid, pure awareness, its limpid quality intense and enormously potent. While everyone else cultivates a non-conceptual state of meditation, a pristine state in which everything fades away, I hold this to be calm abiding, that is, the abiding quality of awareness, which will not help you understand the key point here. I must emphasize the need to identify bare, unobstructed awareness in all its nakedness under any circumstances. A tenet that is unique to the Great Perfection approach. The implication of freedom in immediate perception is discerned by identifying awareness in the interval between sense objects manifesting outwardly and consciousness, aware yet empty, arising inwardly. The great Garuda states, freedom in immediate perception is naturally pure, boundless, completely perfect, and free of limitation. Any dualism is naturally dispelled. The implication that the vast expanse is a supreme state that need not be sought and is free of anything needing to be done can be discerned within the interval between sensory appearances and emptiness, in which nothing need be said or done. Another implication to be discerned is that there is freedom from limitation, beyond imagination or expression. Since nothing has ever existed within the essence of awareness, that essence is Samantabhadra, wholly positive. Since it is the unobstructed unity of emptiness and lucidity, it is the spacious expanse of Vajrasattva, immutable being. To identify this is called finding Buddhahood within yourself. For even if you were to search elsewhere, you would not find it. The web of magic states, perfect Buddhahood is not to be found anywhere in the 10 directions or 4 times. Since mind itself is perfectly awakened as Buddhahood, do not seek Buddhahood elsewhere. If you put this into practice, it makes no difference whether thoughts arise or indeed what takes place. Do not direct your thoughts outwardly to sense objects. Think inwardly about your ordinary mind, or settle into some unborn state between these alternatives as the natural state. Rather, identify unobstructed awareness in your immediate perception of it. In the very instant you do so, you abide in enlightened intent that is like space, beyond elaboration, imagination, or expression. A state free of limitation, in which nothing has been deliberately rejected, but which is not experienced in light of your ordinary consciousness. Here the phrase is not experienced in light of your ordinary consciousness, is used because there is no proliferation and resolution of thoughts. Since you do not think about the sense objects you perceive, it is said that nothing can be characterized as real. When both seemingly real sense objects and the proliferation and resolution of thoughts are absent, there are no other modes by which samsara and nirvana can be evaluated and reified. And so there is one's own awareness, that is, timeless awareness, as one's individual experience of self-knowing awareness, indescribable, inconceivable, and inexpressible. The great Garuda states, rely on the state of resting naturally, and you are free of needing to do anything about samsara or nirvana. As for the miraculous expressions of mind and sensory appearances, this is self, this is other. The hindrances of mental stirring, perceiving, thinking, and fixating are dispelled. And so there is imperturbable rest that defies all attempts at verbal expression. The implication that whatever manifests is the miraculous expression of ordinary conceptual mind can be discerned in the interval between the mind free of phenomena and its conceptual process. This key point is the great universal path adhered to by those who are spiritually advanced and by those who follow them. This has been stated in passages such as the following: indescribable, inconceivable, and inexpressible. Perfection of sublime knowing is unborn and unceasing, the very essence of space. It is the domain of each individual's self-knowing, timeless awareness. I pay homage to the Mother of Victorious Ones of the Three Times. Do not think of anything. Do not think of anything at all. Do not contrive, but relax naturally and gently. The uncontrived state is the precious, unborn treasury. It is the path blazed by all victorious ones of the Three Times. When the tangible and intangible are not experienced in light of ordinary consciousness, since there are no other alternatives at this point, there is utter peace without any frame of reference. freedom from limitation is praised as the ultimate meaning of the true nature of phenomena. Having realized that all phenomena, like space, are without basis, you perceive them in their equalness. No phenomena exist that are good or bad, that are to be accepted or rejected. On the Isle of Gold, all things are equally gold. So whatever forms manifest, they are neither good nor bad. There are no ordinary rocks or stones to be found, for everything is made of gold. Similarly, all phenomena constitute a state of infinite evenness within the great perfection that is free of limitation. So the labels error, obscuration, samsara, and nirvana are irrelevant. Furthermore, the statement that the three kayas abide as a spontaneous presence, given their true nature as a supremely spacious state of evenness and equalness, is simply a figure of speech. In actuality, you have cut through limitations by going beyond what can be characterized or described. So that enlightened intent is spontaneously present as a supreme state beyond ordinary consciousness. The natural freedom of awareness states, it is beyond limitation or distortion. the distortions of the four extremes are naturally cleared away. It is free of the biases of reification.